Right, boys and girls, staff, thank you for joining me once again. Do pay attention, sit up straight, stop chewing that gum, no throwing paper darts down the back. Today we're dealing with people who want to be wrong on the interwebs, recidivist offenders once again. It's fucking Mike Israetel again, who frankly is one of the large number of incredibly arrogant, however totally ill-educated buffoons regarding any aspect of human nutrition or human physiology. These are reductionists, pseudoscientists, anti-scientists, crackpots of the highest order. Mike is yet another buffhead running around saying ridiculous things that don't make any sense and are of no value to anybody actually in the real world. So let's deal with Mike and his ridiculous nonsense in a point-wise fashion. Off you go, Mike.
Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for Renaissance Periodization. And today's BS series topic is that carbs cause fat gain. Say it ain't so.
Okay, so that's a straw man, basically, right from the very, very beginning. A diet which is based around a significant amount of carbohydrates is likely to predispose a person, on average, to a higher likelihood of increased adiposity because precisely of the holistic functioning of the human metabolic system, the human endocrine system, your hormonal responses, etc., which will absolutely lead you to a position where your metabolism is vastly more likely to be running in a mode and direction that will lead to an increase in your adiposity. So while you can't say carbs cause you to be fat, because it is possible to eat an amount of carbohydrates without becoming fat, carbohydrates absolutely do increase your likelihood of adiposity more so than other macronutrients for a number of reasons. So this is just reductionism. This is ideology from another, basically, for those who don't know, Israetel here is another calories in, calories out crackpot. I'll deal with that when he drops that ridiculous bombshell a bit later on in the video. So right from the start, Michael, just nonsense. Sorry, son, wrong. And goodness me. Make your own judgment on this.
Say it ain't so. So, really quickly, the propensity for a nutrient taken in to cause the creation of new body fat is called its adipogenesis, or adipogenic ability. And all the three macronutrients, fats, carbs, and proteins, can actually be ranked on F.
They can be. You can rank all sorts of things in all sorts of orders if you like, Mike. And if you want to do that, you should probably provide us with some peer-reviewed evidence to support your rankings. Have you done that here? We'll wait for you to provide some peer-reviewed evidence of any kind. Perhaps we should stop waiting. Spoiler, boys and girls, the exact number of peer-reviewed citations to anything establishing any of Mike Israetel's claims in this video that he's made here is none. None whatsoever. So, Mike? Sorry, son. No.
Average by the degree to which they are adipogenic, the degree to which they lead to the likelihood of fat storage, all other things being equal. And fats are by far the most adipogenic, and this is for the straightforward reason that they require almost no biochemical modification.
Okay, so complete reductionism is the only thing you've got going on here, is it, Mike? Fats are most adipogenic because they're already fat. Well, no, because let's look at the endocrine and hormonal responses, the holistic metabolic responses to different macronutrient made up diets, Michael, and see what happens in terms of people's adiposity levels over time, shall we? Did you cite any evidence in support of your claim that fats are the most adipogenic of the three major macronutrients, Mike? No, you didn't. Pop yourself to fuck then, son. No.
So they arrive, they're very scantily modified. They can be highly modified or they cannot. And then they get stored into fat cells and voila, right in they go. Carbs are next. Their conversion to fat requires a few chemical
Yeah,
steps.
I disagree, Michael. Show me some evidence. Show me some fucking evidence that what you're saying is correct or indicated. There is none. That's why you haven't supplied any. You're making shit up to suit your ridiculous fucking calories in, calories out ideology, whereby what you want to claim is that all macronutrients are the same, that all calories are the same, and that we are able to read a nutrition label to see how many calories is consumed in a certain bolus of food and make some kind of reasonable prediction about what the effect on our bodies will be in response to consuming those calories, so-called. We'll deal with that in a minute, though.
Steps, but not so many. And it's quite an easy process. And so they're not quite as likely to make you fat.
Nonsense, Michael.
As are fats, but pretty close.
No, absolute fucking nonsense. Rubbish. What's next?
And then a little further down that list are proteins. Proteins are, sure, adipogenic if you eat enough of them, but in some cases, in some situations, the conversion of amino acids to the sort of intermediate products that are eventually used to construct fats and thus store away that energy as fats is a little bit, maybe considerably more difficult, considerably more laborious, considerably more complicated. And there are...
So, show me some evidence on human beings kept in labs for a reasonable amount of time under lock and key under appropriate observation, wherein the diets were modified and what the result on their adipogenicity was. Using radioisotope labeling and tracing of things, I would suggest, Michael, would be what would be required to support your cause and effect claims here. Do you have such studies? No.
All a bunch of steps in that pathway that may not get done to a certain degree of efficiency, so the proteins end up being not as adipogenic. Mind you, I'm very, very clear about this. Proteins, carbs, and fats are very similar to each other and their adipogenicity.
Says who? On the basis of what? Because you've supplied no evidence whatsoever. You've given us your opinion, Michael, which is vacuous, ill-educated, and arrogant in the extreme, actually. Because you're also now about to start telling us all about calories. You buffhead. You absolute ass monkey. What's next?
Under some conditions and some special circumstances, they can be very different, but usually they're very similar. So it is not true that you can like eat 5 steaks a day of protein on top of a normal diet and be like, it's protein, bro. There's no way I can gain fat from it. That's fucking wrong.
Correct. That is wrong.
But in some situations, and generally on average, protein is a little bit less likely to cause fat gain when eaten calorie for calorie. Carbs, a little bit more likely, and fats, the most likely.
Nonsense. Still, doesn't matter how many times you say something that is not true, Michael, it doesn't make it any more true. It is still not true. No.
So already we have a problem.
You have a problem, Michael, and your problem is being in possession of an appropriate understanding of your own level of incompetence. You're a severe sufferer of Dunning-Kruger syndrome, basically. You're a bloke who thinks himself to be awfully clever. Well, I don't know. I don't know why you think you're awfully clever is what I'm getting at here, because you're not, son. You're an absolute moron, and you're about to prove it absolutely.
Because most of the people that say carbs are really bad for weight gain and they make you gain tons of fat, carbs cause fat gain, they're almost always people that are super supportive of relatively high-fat diets.
Or indeed, they're people who understand what the appropriate diet for a human being is. And as such, they will support a diet which is relatively high in fat, because that is entirely appropriate for human beings, Michael. And a diet which is rich in carbohydrates is not. Demonstrably so, unequivocally so, fact. Okay? Simple.
And that's kind of saying that, you know, oh, where are we going to go with this analogy?
So you don't even fucking know what you're going to say next. You haven't even thought far enough ahead to even basically plan the structure of what you are going to say. Let's hear it, though.
Gee, your truck makes a lot of noise, but my motorcycle that makes 10 decibels more noise is not a problem.
Oh, well, that clarifies the whole point about human nutrition. Absolutely, Michael. That's really clear. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, staff, boys and girls? I'm glad we all tuned in for Michael's video here so that we could learn all about nutrition when actually what he wanted to say was his fucking mindless opinion about some ranking of the macronutrients in terms of their adipogenicity without supplying any evidence whatsoever that it's so, and then tell us all about the noise made by trucks and motorbikes. Next he's going to start indulging in homoerotic fantasy as well, but that's for another day. It's not why you called. Certainly isn't why I called. Goodness me.
Come on. And also, people with loud motorcycles, what is it that you're trying to tell the rest of us? That you're tough, that you're not to be fucked with?
How does this relate to human nutrition in any way, Mike Israetel?
Or maybe you just need a hug. Folks, if you have a motorcycle and you like to have the motorcycle that makes lots of noise, the Harley Davidson cruiser types, if you see me anywhere, come give me a hug, bro. We'll hug it out.
There you go. So Michael wants a lot of embracing by big hairy men that ride motorcycles, apparently. That seems to be what he's saying. Good. All right, can we get back to human nutrition perhaps, Mike?
In any case, number 2. What actually causes fat gain and net weight gain is eating more calories than you expend.
No, it isn't, son. No. Calories are heat. They are defined as heat. They are measured as heat. They are heat. Calories are not a measurement of the energy contained and available to a human being via the metabolic absorption of nutrients in our diet or from anywhere else. Human beings cannot encapsulate heat and use that for metabolic process. We require chemical energy in the form of carbohydrates, fats, and to a much lesser degree, proteins. Okay? No, son. Calories do not affect the human body composition. Only effective energy intake does that, and calories and effective energy intake are not interconvertible terms. No, they're not, you see, because human beings are not isolated thermodynamic systems. Okay, so let's go inside Michael's brain and wait for him to come up with a scientifically valid rebuttal to what I've just said. We won't wait all day because there isn't one, Michael. You lose. You are an ignoramus. You are an ignorant buffhead with severe Dunning-Kruger, stunning arrogance to think yourself competent to comment in this area when you are clearly and patently nothing of the sort. And frankly, son, anyway.
Regardless of whether or not those calories come from proteins, carbs, or fats, or
Right, so all calories are the same. Well, yes, all calories are the same, Michael. They're all derived the same way by rapidly combusting something in a closed thermodynamic system such as a bomb calorimeter. However, that's not what the human body does with the food that we consume. And as such, the number that you will get from rapidly combusting something is nothing like the number you will get when you actually work out what effective energy has been derived from something at all. Okay? So, no, still completely fucking wrong.
Almost every case, a combination of those. So for almost everyone, it just doesn't matter where the extras come from.
All right. So if it fits your macros or if it fits your total energy intake as assessed by calories, which is totally inappropriate, then you can do it with impunity, says Mike Israetel. Fuck off, Michael. Fuck off until you have the first fucking clue of what you're talking about. Okay? Jesus H. Christ on a bicycle. Seriously? Calories, boys and girls. That's where it's at. Okay, good.
Example. You eat your normal diet of 2,300 calories that keeps you at whatever.
That's heat, Michael. That's a measurement of heat energy. That's the number of photons that are required to be transferred between one substance and another, so that and those two substances being defined clearly, actually, as to what substances those are, in fact, and what the starting temperatures were and what the ending temperatures are and all sorts of other things. That's all they are, explicitly, clearly. The first law of thermodynamics does not apply to open thermodynamic systems at all, whatsoever. This is just ridiculous nonsense. This is just ignorance of the highest order. There's no coming back from this, Michael. You are done in this space. You're finished now. Your credibility is absolutely in the shit can, son. All right? That's it for you. You might as well shut down your channel and shut the fuck up permanently. You're a buffoon. What's next?
For body weight, you're at 171 pounds. And then you decide to throw into that day an extra 100 grams of carbs.
Right. So putting in more energy than you expend might lead your metabolic system under certain circumstances to store that extra energy as fat. That's got nothing to do with fucking heat, units of heat measurement, Michael, nothing whatsoever. Also, it might not do that too, because your body holistically might respond in all sorts of different ways, such that the net result is not a gain of weight or fatness or a change at all, even. You absolutely, clearly don't have the first clue about human physiology, holistic human metabolic functioning, or any of this, Michael, at all. It's absolutely patent that you don't have the first clue of what you're talking about whatsoever. Prove me wrong. Send me an email. Let's set up a debate, son, and I'll tear you 7 new assholes because you're completely out of your depth. What's next?
In the form of pixie sticks that you, of course, snort. Not sure pixie sticks.
Jeez, that's hilarious, Michael. I'm only not laughing outwardly for fear that my side shall actually split.
Scott, the video guy, is there another way to take in pixie sticks that does not involve snorting them? Not that I know of. And, or you say, you know what, I'm just going to have an extra chicken breast, mostly protein, or you have an extra glob o' butter, my favorite source of fat. You will gain almost the identical amount of weight above your maintenance value.
Nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense. False. There are all sorts of things that play into the net result of the intake and expenditure of energy from foods, Michael. Not one of those things is calories. None at all.
If the calories are equated.
No. Absolute fucking nonsense. Rubbish.
Bacon is going to be almost identical.
No. Rubbish.
And as a matter of fact, by a small margin.
Well, if you say as a matter of fact before something, somehow that gives it more veracity and correctness than the universe does it, Michael. No.
We can expect over time that the glob o' butter actually gains you the most weight.
No, we can't expect anything of the sort, Michael. That is false. Absolutely, fundamentally, demonstrably, unequivocally false.
Pixie stick, dust, not snorted, but actually consumed, gains the second, and potentially the chicken breast gains the least by the teeniest, tiniest little.
And potentially none of the things you've just said are correct. Good.
Margin, right? You could say at this point, but hold on, what about the carbohydrate insulin model of obesity? Doesn't insulin go up when you eat carbs? Doesn't insulin make you gain fat?
Again, straw men. When you look at the holistic functioning of the human system, above a certain individual threshold, which is variable even within a given individual depending on the circumstances at that time, carbohydrates will absolutely cause an aberrant release of insulin, and that absolutely will drag the blood sugar down lower than it was before the carbohydrates were consumed, thus precipitating lowered blood sugar, increased hunger, appetite, and overeating, Michael. Okay?
Those are both true. But when insulin goes up and there are carbohydrates around, it shuttles the carbohydrates into the cells and can make you fatter.
But it does if the Randall cycle is not too overly activated, thus preventing that from occurring, Michael. In that situation, when the Randall cycle is overly activated and the glucose cannot be drawn down by the cell so effectively, then what you'll find is the glucose will pool in the blood and its concentration will increase, thus causing vast metabolic damage, leading to all sorts of sequelae, including heart disease, cancers, dementia, adiposity, chronic systemic inflammation, leaky gut syndrome, all sorts of problems, Michael. That's not what you're called, though. That's for another day. But no, all calories are the same. If it fits your calories, if it fits your macros, whatever, you just fill your boots up. They're all the same thing. They're all perfectly safe to eat. We don't need to worry about any of these lunatics that suggest that you should eat an actually species-appropriate, species-specific diet, Michael. That's your argument, and it's fucking inane. It's the stupidest fucking thing I have heard from a so-called educated person in my life, son. You are not an educated person. You may have a certificate that says you have a doctorate in something or other. I don't even fucking know what. It doesn't matter. What's coming out of your mouth shows me that you are an imbecile. And you're a fucking moron. Prove me wrong. Front me for a debate, son. I'll tear you to bits. With ease, without breaking a sweat.
Than if you didn't eat those carbohydrates. If you have lots of fat floating around, then the insulin opens up the fat cells and it actually helps transport all the nutrients in. So once the carbohydrates are gone, instead of using them for energy, they're trapped somewhere else. You've got fats floating around, and then the fats are more likely than be stored as the extra. Either way you slice it, whether it's insulin pulling in carbs or the fats floating in by themselves through a variety of other mechanisms, insulin or not, the extra nutrients in your bloodstream in healthy non-diabetic people will end up getting into your fat cells anyway.
Yes, that is true. In the case where you do overeat. However, take two groups of otherwise identical individuals, Michael, study them for a long, long period of time, like a lifetime, under control and observation in a locked metabolic ward situation, so you know they do comply with your design. Feed these people ad libitum, Michael. Give both parties the exact same amount of protein. Feed one of them the rest of their energy in the form of carbohydrates without fats. And the other one, the rest of their energy, the same amount of energy, so-called, in the amount of fats without carbohydrates, and see which one of those groups of individuals tends to consume more energy overall, Michael. Which one of those groups of people overeat and end up fat, Michael? You absolute fucking moron. You reductionist imbecile. What's next?
If they're not getting into your fat cells, you are in really, really deep shit, huge health problems. You're like ketoacidotic or something like that. And you need to go.
Oh my God, really? Michael doesn't even understand the process of ketoacidosis, how that occurs, and in what populations it does and typically does not occur. Good work, Michael. You're only covering yourself in glory here, son. No, not at all.
For the hospital, right? The carbohydrate insulin model of obesity is wrong.
No, it isn't, Michael. It isn't. The carbohydrate insulin model isn't even a thing. What the fuck are you talking about, son? How can something that doesn't even exist be wrong? Goodness sake. If you are suggesting there's no relationship between overconsumption of carbohydrates and overproduction of insulin, ergo overconsumption of food overall and a tendency towards adiposity, Michael, then you are as ignorant as it's possible to be. You're also divorced from objective reality entirely, Michael, in that case. Have a look at public health statistics, son. and you will see where the problem is here. All right? Fuck's sake.
It's been demonstrated wrong in a almost universal body of incredibly well done studies.
Well, show us some then, Michael. Just saying there's a whole pile of really incredibly well done studies doesn't cut it, son. You want to talk about studies, you fucking cite them and I'll show you what's wrong with them. You come across as being singly without the first fucking clue of what you're talking about. Incredible.
That have been done for 40 or 50 years now.
What's that got to do with the price of fish in China? Shit studies that prove absolutely fucking nothing, conducted very poorly over any period of time, Michael, does not establish anything whatsoever or provide any form of credibility at all.
Such that the carbohydrate insulin model of obesity versus the caloric model of obesity.
The what now? You've just mentioned two things there. Neither of them are actual things. If you want to make a particular argument, then make a particular argument explicitly. Operationally defined terms, and let's go at it. And as I say, I will tear you to fucking pieces. You don't even understand first principles of physics, Michael. You think thermodynamics applies in the situation of a human being in terms of their energy intake and expenditure. Are you stoned? No, it doesn't, Michael. You think that all sources of calories, so-called, are equivalent in terms of their effect on the human body, Michael. That's what you've said here today. They're fucking not, son. You have shown no understanding of the integrated functioning, the holistic functioning of a human body, the endocrine system, the hormonal responses, the psychology even, any of that whatsoever. You've reductionistly claimed something that is absolutely demonstrably false and patted yourself on the back, aren't I clever? No, son, you're a fucking moron. Goodness sake.
Obesity being wrong is common agreed upon knowledge.
Oh, well, appeal to consensus fallacy. It used to be commonly agreed upon, Michael, that the earth was flat, that the sun revolved around it, and we were the center of the universe. That was commonly agreed upon knowledge. Was it correct? No, son. Knowledge moves on. Do we think we are now at the ultimate level of knowledge and that there's nothing further to learn? If we do, Mike, there's our arrogance once again, son. Our Dunning-Kruger, son. Show me some unequivocal evidence for the claims that you are making, or shut your ignorant, rancid, stinking face. Buffhead.
Academic circles in nutrition.
You are fucking offensive, Michael. Your fucking arrogance is offensive. Putting yourself forward as an expert in this field is fucking offensive. You are an absolute moron. Without even possession of an understanding of the basic first principles involved here. Wow, and that's not the only thing offensive here, is it? Fuck. Wow.
The people that will make you believe that is not the case are keto zealots.
No, they're not. No. People that will make you believe that an appropriate species-specific diet for human beings is a good idea are people who understand said first principles and who have some common sense, unlike yourself, Michael.
They're very famous for selling keto books.
No, I don't have any books whatsoever to sell you, Michael. People keep asking me to write a book, but I just don't have fucking time. That's for another day. That's not why you called. What's next?
Having keto podcasts and shit like that.
What is it that you do for a living here, Michael? Oh, that's right. You're a zealot pushing an idea, a false ideology. Calories in, calories out, says Michael. Fucking idiot. Making money, misleading people. People who are stupid enough not to go, Is this someone I should take advice from? Okay?
Jason Fung or something like that.
You know exactly what his name is. It's not or something like that.
That's one of those guys.
Jason Fung could run rings around you academically, practically, clinically, and in every sense, Michael, any day of the week and twice on Sundays without breaking a sweat. Because he's got the first clue of what he's talking about, and you do not.
Ludwig. I forget what his first name is.
David Ludwig.
Another one of those guys. There's like 4 or 5 guys that
there's only 4 or 5 guys on the entire internet running around saying eat a species-appropriate, species-specific diet, is there, Michael? Do your homework, son. There are way more than 4 or 5 of us. Okay?
are super low-carb, anti-carb people, and they make lots of noise. And
oh, really? Lots of noise? Is that what goes on? Is it the kind of noise made by a truck or by a motorcycle, Michael? Because that's important. Are you getting enough cuddles, though, Michael, from big, hairy men?
They are in wild disrepute in the academic community.
No, they're fucking not, son. That is a ridiculous value judgment statement. And you are now proposing that you are able to speak for the academic community. And also academics tend to understand first principles of what they're talking about, Michael. Like the fact that thermodynamics is not applicable to a human being, does not work for making assessments about energy in or energy out in human beings whatsoever. Please tell me exactly which law of thermodynamics you think applies in that debate, which I bet you don't have the balls to front up to, Michael. As I say, any fucking day of the week, you just drop me an email and we will book the bastard in, live on camera. And I'll absolutely rip you to fucking shreds.
In the circle in which we're concerned with adaptogenic nutritional interventions. Now, that is not to say that low-carb dieting is bad. It is absolutely a great way to eat and stay healthy if that's what you're into, no problem. But we can't say high-carb eating is bad and adaptogenic.
Yeah, we can, Michael, because it fucking is, in general. For the exact reasons that we've made very, very clear in this video, the very thing that you have dismissed out of hand without the first piece of evidence to dismiss it with, showing your ignorance of actual known physiological functioning in human beings. Plus also ignoring what we see when we look at a population of people who eat a large amount of carbohydrates, i.e. everybody who eats a standard Western or standard American diet. Are they slim, Michael? Are they fitter and healthier than people that eat low carbohydrate diets in general, son? No. Just have a look. Open your fucking ridiculous eyes and look. Subject your ridiculous fucking mindless commentary to more than about 2 seconds of actual refutation to check whether or not you're going to come across as if you're a fucking idiot, Michael, before you make your videos. Learn something from this. Pull your fucking head in, frankly, son. You're completely out of control with your ego here. Wow.
Because within the context of a controlled calorie diet, it is not.
Controlled calorie diet? Humans cannot consume calories. Remember, Michael, they are heat. Okay? Idiot.
So if you are ducking every carb that comes your way, like bullets in the Matrix, sorry for the focusing problem, Scott the video guy, but here we go. Wait.
Yeah, this is about the level we can expect from Michael here.
Wait. You guys remember that shit when he got sort of shot a little bit in the leg and then he fell and I was like, he's dead for sure. And then Trinity saved him. Yeah, good time.
Can you hold a cogent thought for more than 3 seconds, Michael? Apparently not.
If you're doing that shit, but you are Pac-Manning fats like the world is coming to a fucking end, or like you're going to try out for sumo wrestling soon.
Okay, here's a challenge for you, Michael. I challenge you to try and get fat eating fat. See if you can do it, son. Fucking idiot.
Then you, kind sir, are guilty of a mild case of what the French called le bullshit.
Fuck me, really. I think we know who's talking le bullshit here.
And they say it so well.
Anyone with any fucking brains anyway, Michael, can see who it is who is talking bullshit here.
So in any case...
you are saying a calorie is a calorie, yes? And all calories are the same, yes? And you can eat anything you like, so long as you stay underneath your calories. And insulin is not bad, okay, for weight gain, because I don't understand my actual physiology. And oh yes, thermodynamics is very, very good. Fucking moron. Not a single fucking thing right in your entire video, just about.
Be active, be healthy, control your total food intake, eat a diet of any combinations really.
No. Eat a diet appropriate for your speciation, that being Homo sapiens sapiens, that being hypercarnivore. The muscle meats and associated fat, mostly of large ruminant animals, grass-fed, thank you.
As long as you hit the minimums of proteins, carbs, or fats that you like.
Cauliflower ears are a sign of someone who's been punched around the head too many times, Michael. It's one of the signs of being punched around the head too many times. They're also very common in rugby players who often end up getting their ears crunched around in scrummages. It's one of the many, many causes of brain damage, Michael, in people who potentially show signs of brain damage or lack of cognition or, any of those kind of things.
Neither proteins, nor carbs, nor fats are particularly more adaptogenic than the other.
Nonsense, Michael. We've covered that. It was false the first 3 or 4 times you said it about 8 minutes ago on your video, and it's still false now. Sorry.
Particularly more bad for your health than the other?
No, that's also completely false, Michael. Demonstrably and unequivocally so. Nonsense.
Focusing on that is going to lead you down tons of blind alleys.
Oh. I think we can see who it is that fucking lives in a blind alley.
Thank you for tuning in.
You're very welcome.
Again, if you are a cruiser motorcyclist.
Again, another invitation to come and indulge in homoerotic fantasies with Mike Israetel coming up. He really needs to get that point across. Perhaps you should introduce yourself to Fwanky Tough Anal.
See you in the real world.
Yeah, Michael, is that a place you've ever fucking visited, son? I doubt it.
And we're going to hug. And we could even kiss.
Oh, fuck me, really?
Depending.
I won't be kissing you, Michael.
Depending on how I'm feeling that day and how you're looking.
Depending on how the other person's looking, Michael. Okay, good.
Next time.
Fuck me. What an absolute mindless fucking buffoon. What an absolute charlatan. What a clown. What a fuck trumpet. What a cock monkey. Absolutely nothing correct or of any value for anybody whatsoever. Basically, he said calories in, calories out, though. And carbs are not bad for you, though. All right, Michael, if you say so. Join me next time when someone else will be wrong on the interwebs, because it doesn't look like slowing down anytime soon, because there's always buffheads trying to make money by misleading people. And once again, let's say it again just to finish off with here. Fuck, really? See you, boys and girls. Ciao for now.